Hey guys, welcome back to the Meaning of Life. My name is Ever, and today we're gonna get started with our study of the Spirit's book, the first book of the 5 books that compose the Spiritist codification, right? So we're going to be going through each chapter, each section, and we're gonna try to comment on each question and reflect on the ideas that it presents to us, okay? Now remember, the Spirit's book is available online for free. You can just go to Google and type in the Spirit's book by Allan Kardec, and you'll find the free PDF version available to you. So if you'd like to do this reading on your own, gladly feel free. If you'd like to participate with our study, gladly leave your comments, your questions, anything that you'd like to contribute to the community so that we can move this dialogue forward. But remember, keep it positive here. We as Spiritists are not the holders of truth. We're here to simply illuminate and guide people into a way forward, but we're not in any way saying that other religions or other ideas are incorrect. This is just to add more knowledge to our basis so that we can arrive at the ideas that we want to believe in ourselves, all right? So in terms of the comments that we leave, please be positive, don't fight with each other, be honest, be truthful, and remember that we're all brothers and sisters in the long run. And we depend on each other to grow. So let's join hands. Let's not try to divide each other from these different ideas. Let's be a community moving forward with love for each other and love for everybody else, all right? Let's get to the reading then. So we're gonna start by taking a look at chapter 1 titled God. In the first section, God and the Infinite. What is God? God is the supreme intelligence, the first cause of all things. What is meant by the infinite? That which has neither beginning nor end. The unknown, all which is unknown, is infinite. Could we say that God is the infinite? That would be an incomplete definition. Human speech is too impoverished and insufficient to define that which transcends human intelligence. God is infinite in divine perfection, but the infinite itself is an abstract concept. Thus, to say that God is the infinite is to replace the thing itself with one of its attributes. It is to define something that is unknown by referring to something else that is equally unknown. Alright, so in the first question, let's break it down. We see that Allan Kardec doesn't ask who is God, but rather what is God. This talks about Allan Kardec's scientific way of approaching this very abstract concept, right? Trying to be as neutral as possible. Not saying that God is a person or that God isn't a person, but just trying to, in a neutral way, identify what is God. Remember, Allan Kardec, before codifying the Spirit's book, was a very skeptical and secular person. That is, this idea of God and of religion was something that he was very against, because at that point, the Catholic Church in France was dominating the culture, and the school started adapting Catholic teachings into their curriculum, which he was completely opposed to. So with this in mind, we understand that Allan Kardec started his investigation of the Spirit's book with a secular mind. He was trying to unveil any possible lies, mystification, charlatanism in this context, because of course, as a disbeliever himself, he could not truly grasp the idea of the fact that tables were moving without any intervention, without any magnetism from a human. The answer that was given, God is a supreme intelligence, the first cause of all things. This basically says that God is all-knowing. He knows absolutely everything. God knows my most intimate thoughts, and nothing can be hidden from God. God knows everything. Now, when we look at this specific part, that God is the first cause of all things, when we backtrack in terms of scientific ideas, we understand that the Big Bang was the first cause of the material universe. But we've still not been able to discover what the first cause of the Big Bang was. So with this, if we backtrack, we truly go back in time, before the Big Bang, what caused then the Big Bang? What caused the material universe, or for that matter, the spiritual universe, because there is a spiritual universe out there, what caused this into being, right? So we understand that God is the first cause of all things, that He was the first to push the button, let's say, and everything is a subsequent or an effect from that first cause. So in the second question here, I think that Allan Kardec is trying to interpret this idea that God is infinite, right? This is something that we've all heard many times. But considering that this is the second question and we're trying to follow the idea, trying to develop the ideas in a rational way, I think this is where Allan Kardec is heading. Now, when we think about the infinite, we understand that the infinite is, of course, immeasurable. When we think about the idea of the infinite, we think of what is given as an answer, right? The infinite has no beginning or end. And when we truly analyze this by way of concepts, what we don't know is infinite. How can we define what we don't know, as in the extent of what we don't know, if we don't know it, if that makes sense? If I don't know it, how can I define it? So it's obvious to us that everything that is unknown is infinite, but we understand God knows everything, right? We don't know everything. Science is the best tool so far that we have used, or that we have been able to use to develop our ideas, to develop the concepts, and to reveal the realities of the universe. But science is still limited. Science still has not arrived at all of these truths that of what God is essentially. But we can definitely determine we don't know how much we don't know. So obviously what we don't know is infinite. Now in question 3, we see that Allan Kardec is trying to ask the obvious question, is God the infinite? With this, we get the straightforward answer that, of course, He is, but that's only one of the many attributes that describe God. It's almost the same thing if we ask, what's a human being? And we answer, a human being is just a creature that stands about 5 to 6.5 feet tall, or 1.6 meters, or 1.8 meters. With this in mind, we understand that human beings are a lot more complicated than just our height. How are we then going to define the complexity, the society that humans have built, the complexity of relationships that we contain within each other, the relationships of countries between themselves, diplomacy, politics, language? How is this going to define humans if we're only describing by our height? And now we also get the first commentary from Allan Kardec. Allan Kardec will leave his commentaries throughout the book, giving his interpretation and his ideas based on the studies that he had throughout his life, being a very secular person, right? So logically, we understand that God is the infinite, right? But the reality is that the infinite is an abstract idea in and of itself. How can we describe God, something that we don't completely understand or even understand at all, and describe it with something that we also don't understand? Remember, that which is unknown is infinite. We don't know the infinite. We don't know what is infinity. How are we going to use something that we don't know to describe something else that we don't know? So truly, God is the infinite, but He is not only the infinite. There are many, many more descriptions or characteristics that can attribute to God. So it's an incomplete definition. Alright, so we've arrived at the end of the first section of the first chapter, God and the Infinite. Remember to like and subscribe and leave your comments below of what your idea of God is and what comments you have to add to this. And also remember to share this video with somebody who needs a positive word, who is questioning what God is. And please stick around with our studies so that we can all contribute to this massive information of the Spirit's book and of God and the universe. And may our master and loving brother Jesus guide us forward and illuminate our path into loving each other more, into illuminating and becoming more intelligent, more moral people. So be it.